HUBRIS is known as one of the most beautiful games on PCVR, and much like Red Meta, we now have another potentially graphically stunning game coming to the PlayStation VR 2. To be clear, I haven't touched HUBRIS on PCVR since my last review, and going forward, it's impossible for me to pretend that I haven't played it on another platform, so please bear that in mind with this review. Before we dive in, if you enjoy this video, please support the channel with likes and shares, and be sure to subscribe for more VR content. The story puts you in the invisible shoes of a new recruit of the OOO, aka the Order of Objectivity. I say invisible as you have no legs or body in HUBRIS. Your only colleague is a pilot, Lucia, and you are both sent to a planetoid belt to search for the mysterious agent known as Sienna. Your partner, however, chooses to hide in the ship after you crash land, and instead tags along as a robotic sphere helping you throughout the campaign. The enemy you'll be fighting are called Urons. They are another race originated from the planet next to your home planet. So you know that really cool image you see at the beginning in the game or in the trailers? That is called the Twin Planet System. A long time ago, the purple planet was home of the Urons, and the cyan planet home of the OOO. They have been fighting for a millennia, trying to prove who is the superior race. Eventually, blinded by their hubris, which means pride or self-confidence, they did not see the planets actually colliding against one another, destroying both of their home planets, hence the name of the game. For some reason, they want to terraform the planet, and you have to stop the enemy, blow stuff up, and save Sienna. With the story out of the way, let's start on the presentation.
Now take the battery and put it in me. Oh, I mean the drone.
HUBRIS is a very good looking game, and much like the PC version, I found myself again sometimes simply stopping and gazing at the environments. Now, I said this in my previous review, but it's pretty wild what indie developer Cyborn have accomplished with their very first VR game. And much like the PC version, the lighting, the environments and the water can be very impactful. Sound is great too. The musical score is something I kind of missed the first time round, but this time I took it in, and while I would say it's good, I still don't find it very memorable. When it comes to the gameplay loop, I'm pleased to say it's good, but it isn't amazing. The loop being climbing, shooting and collecting stuff, and you need to recycle the items you found to upgrade your weapon, and then you start the cycle again. You only have one gun, but it transforms into 3 different weapons: an auto rifle, a shotgun and a pistol. The shotgun now has an alternative firing mode where you can hold the trigger and steer an explosive shot, but when it comes to combat there isn't much point using anything but the pistol. It's basically too good, and each time you upgrade it the ammo count increases along with the damage, making it easy to ignore the other weapons, and the only reason that I ever looked at the other guns was simply to watch the gun transform in my hand and the beautiful colours you get when you upgrade the gun at the upgrading machine. I'm pleased to say the reload system has been updated. Previously you just waited for a cooldown, but now you have to push the mag back into the gun. This is much more enjoyable, but it also leads to another frustration of not being able to eject the mag at will. You have to basically shoot every single shot for the reloading to happen, and this simply means you'll end up shooting at nothing to make sure the mag ejects so you have a full mag for the next encounter. Currently there's no use by clicking the right joystick in, so I would have thought that would have been a great choice for this. When it comes to comfort, the game can be played standing or seated easily, and all the regular comfort options are available. Now, I did notice some haptics in the controllers and use of the adaptive triggers, but when it comes to headset haptics it seems very sporadic. So at times when, for example, the ship crashes at the beginning, I kind of expected a big rumble, but I didn't get anything. I can get shot in the head over and over and I don't feel anything. If I jump in the water, sometimes you feel haptics, and then other times you jump in the water and you don't feel any. I'm assuming that's something that's going to be updated, because obviously they are working, but very infrequently. There's around 5 enemy types, ranging from the standard grunts to armoured grunts and flying drones, and in the 3.5 hours it took me to complete the game, I think the combat is passable. The AI do have moments of brilliance, but mostly they are easily outsmarted and sometimes simply look the wrong way. As I said in my previous review, there are moments when everything lines up: the graphics, the music and the action, and you get a glimpse of something very special. But similar to the PC, these moments don't happen often enough, and with the port from PSVR2 to PC, we have some similar issues and a couple of new ones. To be clear, this is a carbon copy of the PC version in terms of gameplay, and the high presentation still acts as the double-edged sword. When a game looks AAA, you immediately have high expectations, but the underlying framework still can't match the visuals. The weapons feel solid against the environment, but for some reason will pass through your hands. There's quite a bit of climbing, which is mostly good, and doesn't seem as glitchy as it did on PC. The vault mechanics make it easy for you to grab a ledge with one hand and vault yourself up. But when it comes to complicated areas, your hands sometimes don't know which way to go next. Areas you can grip are highlighted in blue, which I believe you can actually disable in the options. But you'll try to grab it and for some reason your hands simply won't want to stick. And that prevents you from moving on until eventually the game allows it. There's also some rocks that you attempt to stand on and you'll simply just fall through them. And being somewhat of a platformer, there's a lot of jumping, so things like this can be irritating. I personally enjoyed the swimming, the voice acting is good, but the characters can still feel a bit lifeless and unengaging, because instead of talking to you, they talk to the sphere. It's like you're completely ignored, meaning you'll have to stand in front of the characters you're talking to feel like you're actually in the conversation. And finally, I need to address the choice of 120Hz reprojection. I think developer Cyborn have done a pretty good job of making the game look good. For me personally though, it really did depend on what speed I set my smooth turning to. I found on a scale of 0 to 300, about 150-160 was comfortable, and my brightness set to around 50%. To summarise, the PSVR2 again proves that for £1,000 or $1,000, we are getting visually high-end VR games, but the game itself is not amazing. I definitely enjoyed my time with Hubris all over again. It was definitely a quicker playthrough, so I think 4 to 5 hours is a fair representation of the gameplay length for newcomers. But I want players to be aware, the lack of player presence, average to okay AI, and some other decisions keep this from being a must-buy. It's a very well made indie game and still comes with my recommendation of a purchase if you love sci-fi, but make sure you keep your expectations in check. And with all that being said, I give Hubris a 6.8 out of 10. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you have any comments about this review, please let me know down below, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Another attack! Dodge it!